In this video, I'm going to talk about study. Now, maybe you're not a student or you're not studying at the moment, and so you might get asked about what job you do instead. However, it's still worth watching this video because there'll be some useful vocabulary in here for other topics. What do you study? I'm currently studying on an English course in the UK. I've been studying here for about 6 months. Where do you study? I'm studying in a further education college, which is situated in the south of England. It's important to get a range of grammar into your answer. So remember to use the present continuous. It is a basic tense, but using it correctly and flexibly improves your grammatical range. Here is an example of the present perfect continuous, and this will really impress the IELTS examiner. But remembering to use it during the IELTS test is a problem. Learning phrases such as this will help you to remember to include it. Use either I've been studying here or I've been living here. Is situated. This is another phrase that you can learn to improve your grammatical range. You can say it is situated in or is located in. Do you think it is a good place to study? Absolutely. The college is a massive place with great facilities. There's a huge, well-stocked library, and the science labs are well equipped with the latest equipment. The catering facilities offer a wide range of food options, and there are plenty of places to get a cheap bite to eat. I thoroughly enjoy studying there because the teachers are warm, caring, and inspiring. Instead of just answering a question with yes, use absolutely. It means you agree with something that you've been asked. Massive. This means it's very big, it's huge. Great facilities. This means it's got lots of things such as a cafe, computer rooms, a library, lots of equipment provided. Huge. This means massive. Well stocked. It has lots of books. Well equipped. This means it's got lots of equipment. The latest equipment means very new and modern. The catering facilities, this refers to the cafes and restaurants. A cheap bite to eat. This is a cheap snack. It's not a big meal, it just might be a sandwich. I thoroughly enjoy studying there. By adding the word thoroughly into this sentence, it makes it more complex and it sounds much better than saying I really enjoy. I thoroughly enjoy studying there. Inspiring. If somebody is inspiring, they make you feel that you want to do something and that you can do it. Have you always wanted to study this? Absolutely not. When I was younger, like all youngsters, I had dreams of becoming famous. But as I grew older, I became fascinated by science. My science teacher in secondary school was an inspiration to me and sparked an interest in this subject. As in the previous question where I said you can say absolutely when you agree with something and you're saying yes, you can say absolutely not instead of just saying no. Youngsters, try not to use the word children, use synonyms such as this. To be fascinated by or to become fascinated by something is much better than saying I like or I don't like something. An inspiration, as in the previous question we had inspiring. Inspiration is from the same word family, but it's the noun. To spark an interest in something, and this is a very good use of idiomatic language, and it's a collocation, which means to arouse an interest, to create an interest in something, to spark an interest. What is the most interesting part of your study? I particularly enjoy the practical work because it's very hands-on, and it is easier to understand things when you actually experience them. Generally, we tend to do practical work once a week and theoretical stuff the rest of the time. I wish it was the other way round. I particularly enjoy. Always try to make your language as complex as possible, and instead of saying I really enjoy, the word particularly makes it sound more complex. Hands-on describes something that you do using your hands. It's a much more physical activity, and it involves active participation rather than just studying the theory of something. Generally, this means usually, mostly, and it's a good way to start a sentence. Tend to. Tend to plus infinitive is a fantastic verb to learn and use. It's often used when something regularly or usually happens. It's easy to use, but it will impress the IELTS examiner, and it can be used in writing and speaking. I tend to get up at 7 o'clock. I tend to go to bed at 11 o'clock, meaning I generally do this. I wish it was the other way round, and this is a good phrase to learn, meaning I wished the opposite was true. Is there anything you don't like about your study? The only thing that I'm not really keen on about my study is the amount of homework. I'm snowed under with work, and it leaves me with very little time to do anything else. I used to like going to the cinema regularly with my mates, but since starting this course I spend every spare minute with my head in a book. I like and I don't like are not going to impress the IELTS examiner. Make sure that you know alternatives such as this. I'm keen on, or I'm not keen on. To be snowed under with work. Idiomatic language is a fantastic way to impress the IELTS examiner. And this expression means I have a lot of work to do. I'm snowed under with work. Used to like. Used to is a useful verb that we can use to impress the IELTS examiner. Used to plus infinitive. To describe an action that you used to do regularly in the past, and you can use it in this case instead of the past simple. Mates, this is quite an informal word, but you could use it in speaking, and it means friends. Since starting. When you use since before or after and follow it with a verb, it should be in the ing form. With my head in a book. This is a good use of idiomatic language, and it just means reading. I spend every spare minute with my head in a book. I'm basically saying I spend every minute reading. What are your study plans for the future? In the near future, I hope to go to university in the UK. I've applied to a number of top universities. In the longer term, I imagine I will return to my home country. I hope I get a job in the field of environmental science. I'm hoping that my degree and knowledge gained in the UK will enable me to find a good job with good prospects. Instead of just saying in the future, in the near future means soon. In the distant future means not quite as soon. Top universities. This means the very best universities. In the longer term, this is another way of saying in the distant future. I imagine. This is another way of saying I think that is useful for IELTS speaking. In the field of, this means in the area of environmental science. Good prospects. This is a job where there is a good chance of promotion in the future. Make sure that you do the quiz following this video to help you learn some of the useful vocabulary from it. Thanks for watching.